Say, kids, what time is it?
It's kind of like watching TV, but, in your car.
104.7 The Cave, Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 135. This week was my pick. It is it's a documentary, but I don't know if you could call it that. But it is
takes the
essentially
cake for the weirdest one.
a docu-film, if you will, about
it's more
David
like
Bowie.
a piece of art.
Yeah. I would totally agree with that. It's like a music video. And it is Moonage Daydream, and it is, again, I guess you could call it a documentary about the life of David Bowie, but more specifically, I think it was a documentary about him as an artist and his periods.
Yeah, it was. I almost blamed you for not telling me I should have eaten an edible before I watched it. But then I took the blame off you and put the blame squarely on myself because it's David Bowie documentary. I should have known.
If there's ever
it would have made a lot more sense to me, I think.
If there's ever a question of whether you should take an edible or not, the answer is always yes.
Well,
so yeah, that's a good point. I didn't do that the first time I saw it.
It was so colorful and so it's very interestingly made.
Well, and it's shot with not only like concert film and backstage footage,
it's just everything. It's everything
montages, but there's also like added art pieces in there too, like weird effects, film effects, and stuff like that. That it wasn't him that did it.
Yeah, whoever put it together, they went extreme.
They went hard. Yeah. And again, it's crazy that this was made after he passed away because it really feels like it was something he was a part of. Does that, you know what I mean by that?
Yeah, it's very. That's what I mean. It's just like an extension of David Bowie.
Yeah,
really.
and maybe at the end of the day, like his kid said, like Duncan was like, "Hey, this is kind of the direction I think that he would have gone, or this is kind of what I think we should do." To the director, but props to him because it really felt like Bowie was involved in this, or at least some of the decisions that they made. But back to what we were talking about, no, I did not take an edible when I saw it. I took my 16-year-old kid to see it in theaters, and it was amazing.
You went and saw it in a theater?
Yeah, hell yeah, because I'm a huge Bowie fan, and so is he. So we were just like, it was the same thing. We had the same exact conversation with not the edible conversation, but the fact that it just felt like.
Yeah,
it wasn't like he was born, he lived, he died. It was this guy as an artist, and this is how you should view his body.
Yeah, it just throws you right into his life and his whole the makeup wearing and fancy outfit wearing.
We'll get into those periods when we return next. Dark Side of the Stream, 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 135, discussing Moonage Daydream by David Bowie. It is now on HBO Max.
That's where I saw it.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. And again, if you have HBO Max, watch it, especially if you're a fan of Bowie. Very cool documentary. You're going to see a lot of footage from each period of his life that you probably never seen before. I know I hadn't. But
it was all new to me too. The story, I didn't know about his brother and all that stuff.
Yeah, that whole thing and they definitely focused on the mental illness portion.
And he said he might have a little bit of mental illness as well. That's why he's so trippy.
For sure. They kind of focused in on how he was very private when it came to his family, where he came from, his actual story. I think he was more involved with creating the myth of what he did. I really obviously am a big fan of his earlier 70s work. The glam era, the Ziggy Stardust era is my favorite Bowie period. There are great periods though, the Berlin stuff, the stuff he did when he was sober in the 80s, Let's Dance, all that stuff. But it was really cool to see each chunk. What was your favorite part of it?
I liked the Ziggy Stardust era because it's just so out there, man.
So wild, man.
And I like how he said that he created the character with this kind of a backstory, but the fans turned that into an even more bigger backstory. I thought it was a very cool art.
Creating kind of the I guess
fans
the tree
just kind of turned him into planted the seed and let it go.
Take it where it goes.
You guys water it.
But again, it wasn't like there wasn't a whole bunch of there were facts in there, but it wasn't like this is when he was doing lots of cocaine.
It was not like a behind the music.
No, it was like, here is someone's life.
Yeah,
and told honestly, now that we're talking about it, it really does feel like, they talk about when you die, you get like your life flashes before your eyes.
Yeah, kind of like that. It was like just little sprinkles of his life.
If we could see what he saw before he passed, it may have looked like this, and that might be what they were trying to pull off.
Put it on film, yeah.
If that's the case, they definitely pulled that off. I can't believe I just thought of that.
Yeah, deep thoughts this morning.
I don't know how the hell I'm doing it. I'm working on fumes right now. It is Dark Side of the Stream. We return next on 104.7 The Cave. 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio. Dark Side of the Stream, episode 135, discussing Moonage Daydream on HBO Max about David Bowie. My favorite part, even though the Ziggy Stardust era is my favorite music part, I really enjoyed the part of the documentary where it just showed what he was doing in his life in the early 80s, where he basically just decided, you know what, I'm over this. I'm just going to kind of try to be a person and go to a country. Like he lived in Thailand for a while and experienced the culture, went to Europe, did Africa, like basically just became like would move to a place and try to submerge himself in that culture and just be there.
Yeah, very trippy, man.
Berlin did it in Berlin as long as he could. So I think that I love that, because whenever I go on vacation or go to a place, I try to do that as much as I can. You go there so that you can be a part of it.
Yeah,
right.
Not to the touristy
not
stuff.
A tourist,
yeah.
Not just like looking at it from like at a zoo, but just go into the zoo and be a part of the animals as much as you can and see what they see and eat what they eat, do what they do. That's more of an experience to me. And I mean, obviously at that point in his life, Bowie having the money that he did, being able to do that when and wherever made him a very lucky person. I mean, I think that was just so cool. And they did a really cool job of the footage from that era. Obviously he had cameras on him. And so I don't know if he was trying to make a documentary or whatever, but I thought the shots there when he was in like Thailand and, in Asia and that stuff where he was kind of walking around, and people weren't really noticing him. Did you get that? I mean, They would just like walk around him, but he was just kind of going through these places.
Pre-internet, man, you could do that.
Yeah, you could until someone, now it's like they take a picture of you and boom, you're on and everyone knows where you are and you're screwed. And that's why people don't share their location anymore, because they're afraid of people coming to see them. Jay Stevens, Mike the Intern, Dark Side of the Stream. We'll return next with our ratings on Moonage Daydream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio one more time. It's Dark Side of the Stream, episode 135. My pick this week was Moonage Daydream by David Bowie. Again, you can watch it on HBO Max. It's an incredible documentary. If you are into Bowie, you're going to love it, especially if you're sitting there going, I already know everything about David Bowie. Yeah. It's not that kind of documentary.
It's more of a ride. It's more of a ride. Strap in and go for it.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning, if you, I really think that was what the director was trying to do, which was, give a guy just if your life flashed before your eyes, that's what you would see.
Could have been. It's a very good analogy. Call the guy up, find out.
He might be listening to us right now, going, he got it.
Those two kooks got
those two guys actually figured something out. It only took them 135 episodes to do it. I would give it a solid 4.
I'm going to go 3 just because it was weird.
Well, because you didn't take an edible. If you'd taken an edible, you'd have said a 5.
Would have been the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Bro, I can't believe it. Oh, my God.
You have to all watch it with me right now.
The next day, someone walks out. Oh, my God, you guys, come here. I got to show you this thing. We'd have never heard the end of it. Well, now
that's what it was with Abducted in Plain Sight. That's how this whole thing got started.
I know.
Turned everybody onto that.
Next time there's any question as to whether it's a yes or a no, always a yes.
Yeah.
So Jay's pick next week for 136. What are we watching?
I found a hidden little feel-good gem on Netflix. It's called The Longest Third Date Ever.
The Longest Third Date Ever.
Yeah.
Okay. Checking it out.
A guy meets a girl on a dating app, and they go on a date, and they go on a second date, and they go on a third date. They decide to go on a trip. And during that trip, coronavirus hits, and they're stuck together for a year, basically, on a third date. Barely know anything. It's crazy. And they filmed the entire thing. And the guy filmed the entire thing and turned it into a movie.
All right, I don't want to spoil it.
I got goosebumps.
I was like, I bet they're married now.
I got goosebumps.
We will discuss The Longest Third Date Ever next time. Dark Side of the Stream. You can watch it on Facebook Live every Thursday, 9 a.m. Listen to it my show, same time, or during JSO at 6 p.m. or always download it as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app. I'm Mike the Intern. This is Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies so you don't have to. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.